Thanks for your support as a channel member, Sean MRV! Formula One heads to China and the Shanghai circuit for its second race of 2025, but it does so mourning the loss of one of its greatest characters. Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to predict what happens in the Chinese Grand Prix, but first I'm going to share a little tribute to Eddie Jordan, who has passed away at the age of 76. He was such an enormous character in the F1 paddock and a brilliant team owner, an amazing deal maker and a brilliant pundit to watch on the TV. He led his Jordan Grand Prix team to 4 race victories from 250 races across a 14-year stint in the sport. His team has gone through some ownership changes over the years, but it's now in the hands of Lawrence Stroll as Aston Martin, operating from the same Silverstone base, even though they're redeveloping the factory and just sort of updating facilities. But it's the same location as where Eddie Jordan founded that team. Much missed, much loved, and as I said, an incredible character. He was the life and soul of Formula One at a time when you had some slightly more serious characters, and he just sort of provided the light in that sense. He was enormous fun, just a brilliant guy. I have an interesting sort of connection to him in a couple of ways. So first of all, I was at my first ever British Grand Prix. He was part of the BBC Formula One television team here in the UK, and they were doing a pre-race piece at an ice cream van, and I was in the crowd sort of watching them film it, and he made this ice cream. It was pouring with rain, we all had our coats on, and he said he'd throw this ice cream up in the air and someone could catch it. No one caught it, but it did sort of slide down my coat and this other guy next to me. So yeah, Eddie Jordan threw ice cream all over me, so I've got that. And also his Jordan F1 team won the first ever race that I watched as a young boy. The 1998 Belgian Grand Prix, which was also Jordan's first ever win in Formula One. An amazing race, just pure chaos. Yeah, I was hooked ever since. So yeah, it's an interesting affinity that I have with Eddie Jordan and his team. So yeah, just rest in peace, Eddie, and thank you for everything. What an absolute legend of Formula One. Okay, time for some predictions. We are into our first sprint weekend, but we're not going to worry too much about the sprint in these predictions. But what I will ask you to do is tell me who wins the sprint in the comments down below. I'm going to go with Lando Norris to win the sprint. And talking of Lando Norris, he's also going to take pole position for the Grand Prix on Sunday. He's now got 2 in a row, which is pretty good going. Abu Dhabi and Australia. He's going to make it 3 on Saturday morning in the UK, but Saturday afternoon in Shanghai, of course. So yeah, Lando to continue his very good qualifying form. Let's move forward to the Grand Prix then, and I'm going to go with a very experienced driver to take 3rd place. I'm going Lewis Hamilton to get a podium for Ferrari. This is more in hope than anything sort of rational. But there is a little bit of method to my madness. Lewis is very good around the Shanghai circuit. 6 victories there, many podiums. Probably his best win was the 2011 Chinese Grand Prix. A little bit of context, he almost didn't make the grid to start from 3rd. Got out of the pit lane before they closed it with like 30 seconds to go. He was 5th at one point halfway through the race, and he overtook 3 drivers, including Sebastian Vettel, to win the race. So yeah, if you get a chance to go and watch the race in full, do so. But if you just watch the highlights, that's fine as well. But Lewis is very good around the Shanghai circuit, so I'm tipping him to get his first Ferrari podium, a racetrack where he's been very successful. Moving to 2nd place, I'm going to go with Oscar Piastri. He probably should have been 2nd last week in Australia, but he slid off the road, which was very unfortunate. I felt so bad for the poor guy. You know, I mean, Australia can't catch a break, can it? With home drivers, and when they look set to do well, something bad happens to them. It's just, yeah, that's sport, unfortunately, but hopefully he rocks up there next year and actually wins the whole thing, so that would be great, wouldn't it? But I'm going to go with Oscar in P2. He needs to get a podium, he needs to get some big points on the board this weekend, because if McLaren retain their advantage over the rest of this season, it's him versus Lando for the title. And Lando already has a 23-point lead. Not easy to make up when a driver's in good form. So Oscar needs to find his speed and convert to, well, he's found his speed, he knows it's there. He just needs to convert it into some big points and hopefully some race wins along the way. But he won't be able to stop Lando Norris this weekend. Lando is just riding a wave of momentum now. I think if he wins the sprint, he'll be very difficult to beat in qualifying, as I've pointed out. And I think he knows how to get the job done now. That's that 5 race wins. That's his 5th race win in Australia. I think he's going to make it 6 this weekend. It's going to be difficult to stop him. The McLaren should work well in China, but obviously it's a difficult track on tyres, so there could be a bit of strategy there. But I think McLaren are comfortable enough in themselves now to get the job done. So my podium is Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. More out of hope than anything else. Moving on to my bold prediction, and it features Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson. I'm going for Isaac Hadjar to finish ahead of Liam Lawson, and I really hope Hadjar gets some points. He was described as embarrassing by Helmut Marko, which is an absolutely outrageous statement from the head of the Red Bull Driver Young program. I've got the words mixed up there, but who cares? We know who he is, and we know that he talks a load of nonsense from time to time. Sometimes he makes some good points, but also pigs fly those sometimes. So yeah, take that with how you will. But I'm going to go with Isaac Hadjar to beat Liam Lawson. The young Kiwi had a difficult weekend in Australia. I don't see things getting much better in China. It's another track that he needs to learn. I just feel like there's a whole bunch of circuits that he might not know particularly well, and Red Bull are going to make their decision based on that. And then he's going to be back in the Racing Bull. And who do they put in there then? Do they finally promote Yuki Tsunoda? Because they seem like they really don't want to. Will they even send Max Verstappen back to the Racing Bull? Because it looks like it's a decent car. So who knows? Who knows what Red Bull are going to do with their drivers? You can't second guess it. But what I think we can say is that Isaac Hadjar will be looking to bounce back from his Australia disaster. Yeah, I really hope he has a good weekend, because he didn't deserve what happened to him last time out. Okay, let's dive into some of your predictions. I put the call out and plenty of you have responded. But what we're going to do this week is we're going to include people who weren't mentioned last time. So all the predictions will be shown on screen, but from race weekend to race week, then we will mix up who gets their predictions mentioned as per, but everyone's will be shown on screen. So even if I don't mention your name and your predictions specifically, they're still there, and thank you very much for submitting them. So let's start with Bradbeer6923, who's gone for Oscar Piastri to take pole position and to win the race. Very interesting. But George Russell to get between the two McLarens and finish in 2nd. That's an interesting podium. Bold prediction, Williams to get both cars in the top 5. Well, so Bradders has gone Oscar, George, Lando, Carlos, Alex as your top 5. That's a Chinese Grand Prix I think we could all get behind. Yeah, that's a very exciting looking top 5. No Ferraris, no Red Bulls in there. Very, very interesting. JRG392, also Oscar Piastri for pole position, but Lando Norris to win the race, and to do so ahead of Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen, which probably should have been the podium last week, you would think. Bold prediction, Liam Lawson to finish outside the points, which is not too dissimilar to mine. At least I said that Hadjar would finish ahead of Lawson. If that's last and second last, I still win. But I would like to see Hadjar in the points. Let's go with 246 Master Chris, who goes for Max Verstappen to get the pole position on Saturday, but Lando Norris to overturn his Dutch rival and win the Grand Prix. Verstappen relegated to 2nd, Piastri coming home in 3rd, and Chris's bold prediction is Lewis Hamilton will use his wealth of Chinese success and experience to outqualify and outscore Charles Leclerc. So absolutely possible. I mean, we don't actually know really how good that Ferrari is. I don't think they know how good it is yet. What would be interesting is if McLaren win the first few races, then Ferrari finally find the button that turns the Scarlet car into a rocket ship a little bit like last year in that sense. And then you've got Ferrari trying to play catch up, which I think would be an enormously exciting 2025 season. Throw in there Max Verstappen as a curveball when the Red Bull seems to work, and maybe George Russell as well, and Kimi Antonelli. What a season we could be in for. But that's all on the basis that Ferrari get their act together. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's go next to Crazy Plays, who's gone for George Russell on pole position. Wow, what a prediction. But Oscar Piastri to win the race, ahead of Russell and Norris. Interesting podium, exciting race if that pans out. No rookies will, all the rookies will finish essentially, and Lance Stroll will score some more points. I think that's an interesting race, interesting bold prediction. And then finally we'll go to Pulse Potato, who has, we've got, there we go, show less, sorry, show more even. Let's go with his pole position, which is Oscar Piastri. Interesting. But Lando Norris will win the race ahead of Max Verstappen and Piastri. So the pole sitter dropping 2 places. 3 extra predictions here from Ben. Lance Stroll to get more points, which is, I think, possible, I suppose. He's going to be confident from his Australia result. So let's see how the Aston Martin does in China. Surprise flop, both Mercedes cars. Okay, well, that could be that they don't get out of Q1 or don't score points. That could be interesting. And a second surprise prediction, Lewis Hamilton have another bad race. Get out. I'm going to bring up Optics' exit sign here for Pulse Potato. Get out. We're not having another bad race for Lewis. We're having a podium for Lewis Hamilton, and I won't hear anything else. Thank you to everyone for their predictions. Very, very interesting set of prophecies that you've come up with. If you want to find out how we react to all of the action that happens on track, whether it's a qualifying session, a sprint race, or a Grand Prix, join the AHGP Discord. There's a link down below, and you can get involved in the conversation. And as we respond to all of it, we will probably be giving spoilers to people who are delayed on their feeds, but that's part of the game. But yeah, should be good fun. Looking forward to the Chinese Grand Prix weekend and a Lewis Hamilton podium. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. You're the best fans. Remember, be fast, be last.